I've done catering for bands. I've gone on tour with bands. I love music. I've owned a music store. A music store in the sense of you used to go to buy CDs and vinyl. I've always been involved. I've been in bands. I've always loved music. It's been a part of me. I was part of starting 104, the original, over on in Newington, and we had some stupid times and a lot of fun. Met a lot of bands. You know, we were part of the very first Warped Tour, which was amazing, and nothing like what it is now. Music means everything to me. You know, it's a forum unlike any other. You know, people come and go in your life. Jobs start, they end. People die. Whatever. You know what? You lose friends, you gain friends. The only thing that has been stable in my life is music, in one form or another. It's always been there for me, whether I was happy, sad, I was miserable, I was difficult to deal with. It didn't matter. You know, music doesn't judge like that. And how it makes me feel is completely based upon what I'm listening to. I could be absolutely amped up listening to, you know, like Metallica or Nitzareb or Nine Inch Nails, or I can be very serene listening to, you know, someone like Enya or Enigma. Music, it speaks to the person. I mean, everybody that I know hates loud, obnoxious metal music. I love it. And part of that is because people haven't experienced it. They hear it, but it sounds like just crunchy noise to them, and they haven't given it a chance to actually speak to them. Lyrically, situationally, it's completely different. I mean, and that also goes for people that hate country music. Like, you haven't taken the time to hear what it has to say. And what it has to say may change your mood. It may make you happy. It may make you sad. Hell, they use music in, like, Abu Ghraib to torture people. And that's one way that people found to use music as a weapon instead of as, you know, something to feed the soul. And that makes me sad to see that, because that's awful. Like, what it would do to those people, whether they're guilty or not. In the future, they may never want to hear another musical sound in their lives. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Music can be like food. So, like, if you smell something, that may take you back to a place like your grandmother's house, to a fair, to your first date, to God knows what, you know, you fell on your ass at the roller rink. I don't know. But music does the same thing. And it can do the same thing. And this may not be, you know, retrospective to everybody, but I can hear something and it'll take me back to a date. And the date and the event that, you know, I heard something, it kind of jogs a mental note, you know, of what happened then and there. We used to sleep out on the sidewalk and wait to get tickets to an event. You know, music then was very different than what it is now. I think it's harder to find community in music now because people take what they see I mean, I was always told don't judge a book by its cover, but that's kind of what everybody does now. You know, it's this big cancel culture, and if you don't follow rules directly, then, you know, you're undone. And I think that that's what people do to different genres of music now, you know. If you like one certain genre, you may be, you know, the outlaw, or you're not accepted into various groups. I think before, people were very musically inclined to develop communities around that, and now it's unfortunately we did it to ourselves with digital music. It's like it's very much throwaway, because you get apps like Spotify or Tidal, and you're listening to one thing and immediately you can skip it, and if it doesn't, you know, get that one, you know, chord in your ear, it's gone. And it's terrible, because you're missing out on a lot of stuff. Before, we were forced to listen to things because you either had it, you know, on a cassette or vinyl or a CD, and you had to make it to that next track. And especially with cassettes, like, you're like, oh God, there's no way to skip to the next one, you know? You have to make it through it, you have to listen to it. And by then, I think it was, you know, it forced people to actually listen to what they purchased and to what musicians had to say. And now it's very much very bite-sized events. Sit down and find something that, you know, speaks to you, whether it's, you know, you can be driving around in your Volvo listening to classical because you think that that's what you need to, but go out of that secure zone and try something new. It's not going to hurt you, for God's sakes, you know. You may find that, you know, you were listening to Vivaldi and, my God, Jethro Tull really got into your head. And all it takes is one musical earworm. That's all it takes. And you can actually go on a journey then. And you can find music that speaks to you. I mean, listening to music, you'll find that there are religious aspects, that there are political aspects, that there are things that interest you that are in that music, and you just haven't found it yet. Or maybe you just haven't heard it yet. If you sit down, stop using it for background, and actually envelop it, take it in. I have a lot of classics that I love that are on repeat on my Spotify playlist. I do use Spotify. I could probably take a newer song that I've been playing tons of. It's by a group that not many people would venture towards. They look very frightening, but it's a group called Ghost, and the song is Little Sunshine. Now, this group is very, like I said, very scary looking to most people. They put on a very theatrical show. They base their persona on stuff that used to sell in the 70s and 80s. A musical memory. Working at 104, I got to go to the top of the world in the Arctic, and got to go to the Molson Ice Polar Beach Party, where I saw Metallica, Hole, Veruca Salt. Very cool. Didn't last long enough, and that was one really good memory. The other one that absolutely tops my list is David Bowie and 9 Inch Nails came into Hartford to start their world tour, and they spent 2 weeks rehearsing, and I got invited to that rehearsal, and it was just insane, mind-blowing. To be able to sit in this gigantic amphitheater with 10 other people and have a band and this humongous rock star performed just for you, and then I got to meet them after, was just, I can't even like get one feeling. It was euphoric. It was, and I don't think I'll ever have anything like that again. Yeah, Bowie was amazing. Some are. I mean, it all depends on who. It all depends. I mean, like, I've met Bruce Springsteen, very, very cool guy, down to earth. He'll sit there and talk to you. Tori Amos, I absolutely love that woman. And I got to hug her and tell her how much her music meant to me. And it's a very cool conversation. Diana Ross, I tried talking to her, and that woman had no time for anybody. In fact, you could not be in the halls when she was walking out. So it was, she wanted to have a very private moment, I guess. Guys like Eric Johnson, B.B. King, down to earth. I mean, I haven't really met anybody who didn't give me the time of day. It's horrible. It really is. All of your stuff is basically packed in these humongous crates. And you know, if it gets turned over, even though it says this side up, your stuff is just a mess. Well, it's like you have spices, you have pans, you have basically your kitchen is in these boxes, you know, in these crates. And you don't handle them, they all get handled by road crew. Every single venue, you're starting over. You know, it's all day one. And if there's something that is amiss in that venue, like if you have like half the burners on your stove there that don't work, well, now you have to crunch and do something else. And it's disturbing, it's very fast. It's chaotic, which was really cool because that's kind of the environment that I really thrive in. You're wasted at the end of the day. You're just absolutely done. But thankfully, you know, the bands and the crew and everybody on tour that's their lifeblood, what you're giving them, you know. Without you, they don't really have much to go on, you know. And, you know, at least the entire tour is very thankful for what you do, you know? Yes. Yes. I never saw any heavy drugs on tour, you know, like there's always marijuana, there's, you know, other things, and, you know, a lot of alcohol because there are some like meet and greets where, you know, the fans hang out with the bands, and, you know, there's small amount of partying there, and then, you know, they may invite other people back, but you got to understand, like, it's not all night parties because we have to pack everything up and you're on to, you know, the next city or town or wherever. And that may be a heck of a drive. So it's not like you get to lay back until, you know, 4 in the morning, absolutely inebriated. You know, there are limits to what we do. So now more so after COVID, you're seeing bands take really, really, really long legs. Bands are more interested in getting home to see their families, so there's not so much of that anymore, I would think, you know. Yeah. Try something new. That's what I would ask you to do, is just try something new. I've outlined a few albums that I absolutely love. Pick one of them up, listen to it, go outside of your limits, and, you know, find something that you might like, you know, and, you know, try to listen to music, try to hear what it has to say to you, and If you can't understand it, look up the lyrics. There are tons of sites on the internet that will, tell you what lyrics are to songs. And once you read those, you may find a connection to that and further develop, with that artist or that band.